my end goal in like career-wise is to get an MD PhD. So I guess after graduation, I would be studying my butt off for med school and preparing for that.
If you did any research, can you please introduce each of them or share just briefly the main topics?
So basically, from like 6th grade, I started studying breast cancer, but then like actual science fair project wise, I started doing breast cancer related projects in 7th grade. So all of my theme topics have been under the big umbrella of to find a cure of breast cancer, which is why my titles have always been Cure of Breast Cancer, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6. Basically, all my projects, so there are several groups of breast cancer, several different subtypes of breast cancer, and each year I would focus on a different subtype and try to find a gene that is significantly expressed within that particular subtype and use that gene inhibitor to potentially suggest a new targeted therapy. Or in other ways, I would find a pathway within the specific breast cancer subtype, where one year I actually used a medication that is being used as a current diabetes treatment in order to treat hormonal positive breast cancer and saw that it actually worked really well. And yeah, that's basically like the big like realms of my projects.
What was your school GPA?
GPA, I think my 4.7 something.
Yeah, it says you're 4.73 out of 5 if it's weighted, almost the full score. So you got straight A's, and there's a rank. You got 10th place out of 437 students. Okay, that's pretty high. How hard was writing college application essays? I heard that you couldn't sleep well. It was very stressful. Can you tell me how much effort you put it in?
So personally, I wouldn't say like essay writing is something I would consider like my forte compared to doing actual like homework or like STEM related things. So in regards to essays, I had to dedicate like a lot more time than I would for anything else. Thankfully, Harvard only had 2 to 3 like essays that I had to write compared to like some others like a whole lot more.
From which grade did you learn about Cambel'academy?
I think it was middle school.
And what kind of classes did you do on Campbell? And please let me know the results and preparation period for the SATs or ACTs, AMCs, and APs.
I did a lot of my AP preparation, SAT, ACT, actually SAT, ACT prep, and like I think almost all of my AP classes preparation for exams through Cambel'academy, AP Psych, AP Calc A, B, BC, Physics 1. Oh, and I also did AMC, Physics 1. Physics 2, Chem, Bio? Yeah. Comparative Government, World History, US History, Macro, Micro, and then like 2 more that I think I'm forgetting.
Is there any memorable teacher or instructor?
I mean, I still remember a lot of the teachers. I'm not gonna lie, like I do remember a lot of them. Right now, I mean, my most recent teacher he helped me with physics. And then there was...
So both of them helped you a lot with the classes. Okay, so there's one more. Which one?
Yeah, there's this shoot, I forget her name, but she was really nice. She was really nice, and she really helped me study for the SAT.
All right, I figured out her name later on. You don't have to remember her right now. So I want to ask you about the AMC. I know that you got the first place on AMC 12, right? AMC 12. So is there any tips to study AMC?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, AMC was like one of like the hardest things I've had to study for, because like they don't go into like calculus or like multivariable DiffQ and all that. Really twist their questions around. And I'd say the best way to prepare is to do like previous year's questions for part like A and B. And then if you're gonna go through like a teacher through Campbell, I personally, they really helped me pick out some tricks. And then they also if I always like had a question about like how to solve a certain question or how to like go about like what I did wrong, then they really explained that portion well. So I think that would be really helpful, just knowing what you did wrong, how to go about solving the questions.
It was your hardest competition you ever did. Okay. What about National History Day? How was it?
History Day is like, it was fun when I did it.
It was fun.
I mean, I didn't, compared to like me making ISEF for like National JSHS, excellent results in history I prepare for science fair in regards to like public speaking. I didn't get excellent results compared to like my science fair or like just STEM related projects and competitions, but overall I feel like it did help me like prepare for these like science fair competitions with like public speaking, how to answer questions, like how to know what the judge is asking for. Like History Day has a lot of things you can participate in, like website building, documentaries, project boards, and I pretty much did like all of them, and then like really just helped me enhance a skill in that particular manner. So I think it was overall like a good experience still.
So even if you're applying for the biology major, you did the AMC competition and the National History Day competition in order to impress the admissions. Is there any other competition that you attend other than AMC's or National History Day?
So science fair is like a really big one in my life, if I'm being honest. Science fair, as I kind of mentioned earlier in this interview, I've done it since 6th grade, and 6th grade through 8th grade, I was able to make it to the state level competition each year. Nominated for National Broadcom, never actually made it to become a finalist, but then from 9th grade, I was thankfully able to advance to the International Science and Engineering Fair each year. And although 9th grade year, it was completely canceled due to COVID, in 10th and 11th grade, I was able to get 2nd place at that international conference. Science fair's been like a really big one. And then there's also, it's like kind of connected to science fair, but it's called JSHS, which is the paper writing portion of a science fair project. And that one I actually started because I wasn't aware of its existence until then. But then again, I was able to make the national conference in 10th grade and 11th grade. And although I wasn't able to achieve any awards at the national conference, I think it was still like amazing to just get that experience of advancing to nationals, seeing so many other like wonderful projects, and just interacting with a lot of people.
Do you have any like personal skills in studying?
Since 3rd grade, I had like a practice book I would need to solve. I would be like, oh, I want to finish this book by a certain date, and then I would make plans to like finish the books, and I would write it in my planner so that I'd be motivated to actually like study. And then personally, I wasn't, well, at least I don't think I was like a rowdy student. So I liked like sitting down and like actually getting focused and studying. My mom always told me to take like 10-minute breaks after like a long time of studying. And I think that really did help because it just helped me like refresh my brain before going into another topic. So I would say those are my personal skills.
So speaking of your mom, can you tell me about your mom's educational philosophy, if there's any, or her way of doing it?
My mom was like always a really smart student when she was young. Like she was like number 1 in her school, number 1 in her grade, like all that, you know, thing type stuff. But then she knew how to study, I guess. I will say like she knew how like someone should study to get like good grades. That's why she always told me like, hey, you should study at least like a certain number of books at a certain subject in order to like achieve proficiency. And you have to really study into one book and then look into other books to make sure they cover something that one book could have missed. And I guess that was her philosophy. But she never really like pushed it onto me because she didn't want me to be stressed. But she still cared.
Pretty much, if I hear most of the students who actually got into HIPS, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, or Stanford, most of their parents don't push them to study. So probably same thing happened to you. What is your plan after graduating Harvard? What is your vision for the future?
Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned earlier, my end goal in like career-wise is to get an MD PhD. So I guess after graduation, I would be studying my butt off for med school and preparing for that. I'm not completely sure because like I don't know the amount of like workload, but depending on like how adjusted I am able to get to the environment, I also would like to like continue my research throughout college and beyond college. So I guess the 2 main things would be like doing my research and studying.
So this video clip will be online for the students who actually want to get Harvard like you or the top tier schools. So if there's anything left to say, please share your thoughts for the students, if there's any.
So I would like to say like, although it seems like really like hypocritical of me after like explaining all my ECs, like achievements and everything, like really try not to stress too much and like burn yourself out, because I feel energy is also like one of the important things to keep someone going in order to like get these like academic achievements or like personal achievements and be able to like go into these places. And really personally, I feel like an important thing is to like really have that one passion that you're really into, like find your passion early on and develop around that specific passion, like I did for me with breast cancer research. And again, just try not to stress too much, although again, I mean, I was personally very stressed, but like,
did you burn yourself out?
I was like very close to. I think like the fuse was like becoming very short.
We are so happy about your most successful admission. I hope this material will be helpful for many students later on.